If you like ice cream, use lipstick, toothpaste, or lotion, and take medicine in the form of tablets or capsules, then this is a big part of your life. Seaweed. We're familiar with seaweed as food, especially with Japanese food like sushi. But seaweed has many more uses beneficial to us and to the environment. Now, to tell us more about that, we have Dr. Stefan Kraan, Scientific Director of Ocean Harvest Technology. Good evening, Stefan. Great to have you on the show.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Straight in, out of the airplane.
Exactly.
Busy day for you now. Seaweed, how did you get into this? What is it about seaweed that draws you to research?
Well, for me, it's my university career where I started off doing my MSc in seaweed. And there's not many people that were interested in that because most people like dolphins or whales as a marine biologist. But seaweed for me was fascinating, especially the small plants and how they wave in the water and look like. So that drew me to it, and I've been studying that for the last 25 years.
Well, very important. It's in things we need and use all the time. Now, there are different kinds of seaweed. Can you explain to us some of the different kinds and uses for the seaweed?
Globally, there's over 10,000 different species. And I come from an area in Ireland where we have 625 species. It's quite a lot. And you roughly can divide them in red seaweeds, green seaweeds and brown seaweeds. And they're all classified by the pigments that are in the seaweed that makes them brown or green or red. But they have specific properties. For example, green seaweeds have certain compounds, they're called carbohydrates, and a fancy word for that in seaweeds is polysaccharides. And they have all kind of binding properties, and that is why we use them in ice cream or in lipstick or in other kind of products.
Yes. Now here we're showing some of the pictures of that actually you yourself drew, and we'll show you also different kinds of seaweed. Here you are. You're going to pick something called, this is the kelp, this large piece of seaweed.
Yes, it's
and this is quite sweet, you said.
Yeah, so the official Latin name is Saccharina latissima, but the common name is sweet kombu. And kombu we know from the Japanese or the Chinese as a species that we eat.
Right.
And there is a high content of sugar in there, mannitol. And that is something that is interesting because it can replace sugar in common products. And especially if you're a diabetic, this is kind of stuff that won't affect you. So there's straight away an application where it could be used as chocolate coatings or other kind of things.
Healthier, much healthier. Now there's also these ones, we see this a lot with the little bubbly tips. This is Fucus vesiculosis.
Very
Did I say
good.
that right?
Yes.
So tell us about that one.
Well, fucus has a pigment called fucoxanthin, and it makes it brown. But we have shown that this pigment in use in fish feed can actually boost the omega-3 production in the fish. And we have been eating fish for its health properties. But over the last 10 years, farmed fish is deteriorating in quality because we use cheaper ingredients and other things. And now with seaweed, we can counteract these problems quite a bit.
Right.
So that's straight away another application.
Yes, and another application is, which is why you're here, you're going to speak at a conference in Cebu. You're going to talk about ocean feed. Tell us about this.
Correct. It's something the company developed, and then it is a mixture, proprietary mix of different types of seaweed. And we look at animal husbandry and animal farming, like pigs or fish indeed, or poultry, and we look at the disease issues that are there. Most of the time people use antibiotics to treat diseases, but there is a big disaster coming down the pipe because most bacteria become resistant against antibiotics. And we use that in the feed, just toss it in because the animal grows faster and it prevents certain health issues. Now, with the seaweed, we can replace these antibiotics, and we have shown that already in Canada, in swine farms or in pig trials. We're running trials in Vietnam, and this is where I see the biggest application, where we can replace chemicals, the bad kind of elements that at the moment are necessary, but try to replace those.
Right, because many people are even avoiding meat and certain livestock because of the feed that is actually becoming detrimental to human health.
That's correct. Correct. And with the seaweed, we try to counteract that and make a healthier product so that it will benefit the consumer, but also the animal.
Right.
So from an environmental point of view, it's a very sound way to do these things.
That's right. So you're helping the farmers, the seaweed farmers, the environment, the people, of course, also the consumers.
Yeah, but don't forget actually the people that provide the seaweed, because they are the harvesters. And what we do in Ireland, we get certain species harvested, but we take a large piece of all the seaweeds that we use from Vietnam, but also the Philippines is a big
we are one of the top
supplier
producers
for us. And what not many people know is the Philippines are in the top 3 of seaweed producers in the world. I mean, they closely follow after China and Japan.
Yes.
But that is a big seaweed producing country.
Right. And tell us about some of the communities, because you source some of the raw material.
Well, currently, and it's still smallish, but we're trying to grow and develop this. But we have harvesters at Bantayan Island, in Cebu, in Bohol, and in Zamboanga Island. And we try to expand on that. It's a seaweed that you can see in the background here.
Yes, right.
It's called lumot.
Lumot, exactly. Very well. Yeah, very good.
We call it ulva because that is the Latin name, and it is an important species that we use. And so we try to develop the industry here, create job employment, help the communities, and in that way grow a sustainable resource as a feed application.
And also, a lot of these communities that you've been working with were affected during Typhoon Haiyan.
Yeah, that's correct. And we were lucky as a company, and that is also a bit of our social corporate responsibility, that we could go in there straight away and help our own people, of course, to re-establish their infrastructure, help to rebuild their lives.
Yes.
And that was a nice thing to do.
Yeah, so it's very important to talk about, to share knowledge and skills on this. So you're here for the conference, the 2014 International Seaweed Congress, which is taking place tomorrow until the 21st in Cebu.
Yes, correct.
So you're giving a talk on that.
Yeah, and I was a bit surprised because we were only told today that actually 700 people attend.
It is an important and quite a big industry, isn't it?
It is,
yes.
and there's people from all over the world that are coming here specifically to this conference in Cebu. And what I said, Philippines is the third biggest seaweed supplier.
Yes.
And there is a lot of seaweeds actually cultivated and harvested here in the Philippines.
Right. Now, in terms of political challenges, because the theme of the Congress is breaking barriers in environmental, health, socioeconomic, and political challenges, there are legal frameworks and certain situations that the government can help us with. From your side, what have you been
from our
faced
side, it is mainly the licensing issue where we can grow seaweeds and harvest seaweeds and do it in a sustainable, environmentally sound manner. That's beyond any doubt.
Yes.
But just to get this going, government should be more proactive because it is a sustainable resource.
Yes.
And we can actually do something good in the feed industry, replace certain chemicals.
Right.
So to get them to think about this and how they should actually be proactive and support this is sometimes difficult.
So if it's difficult in Ireland, I can imagine how much more difficult it will be in a third world country.
We had some challenges here as well,
yes.
but step by step we get there.
Yes, but what are you seeing with the communities you work with? This technology is helping communities. What are you seeing as now the New Year's coming, advances that we might be seeing in this field?
Well, the thing that we're driving through is actually establish a big hub here in the Philippines, where we extend on the network we have, draw more harvesters in, and slowly start expand.
Right.
And we are also in negotiation with several clients, big companies here that are trendsetters, as I would say, to produce healthy foods, and they are coming on board as well. So we come to a situation where we get the seaweeds from the Philippines, but also supply companies in the Philippines.
Yes.
So it is going to be a Philippine story, basically.
Wonderful. That's great. Now, if there's in all your research, all your years of working in this field, are there any particular experiences that stand out for you? It's difficult and tedious, isn't it? Something you might share.
Well, for a couple of years we have been pushing the rock uphill, but we coming to this basically platform and people start to accept it. In the last 5 years, people start to understand, not only for this, but also for your personal health. Because there's a lot of bioactive molecules in these seaweed species that have been shown to work anti-tumoral, that have effects against cancer. And that's where we see really the added value of these seaweeds. Because if we can extract these bioactives and start using this in pharmaceuticals.
Right,
then
exactly. Because seaweeds have been dubbed in terms of nutrition one of the superfoods.
Correct,
right?
Yeah. But that's basically based on the minerals and the vitamins alone. But there is so much more in seaweed that it's like the tropical rainforest. We only have scratched the surface. There's still so much out there.
And thank goodness we have quite a supply. They're not endangered yet.
Exactly.
In terms of.
But even if there are species that are more rare or difficult, we can always cultivate them as well.
Yes. So in terms of the research and development going on with your group, are there some exciting projects that we might be looking forward to?
Different ones. We just produced a health drink, which increases your cognitive function.
Wow.
So it helps you with memory. And we actually can claim that under EU legislation. And it is by providing a certain amount of iodine. And of course seaweeds are known to have a high iodine level. So it's these little things that in general health, if you eat a bit of seaweed every day,
Wow, so that
It
must
keeps
be
the
the
doctor away.
secret to your success. That's a
Yes.
good one. Eating seaweed a day keeps the doctor away.
Yes.
Great. Well, I know you have a busy day ahead of you. Thank you very much, Dr. Stefan Kraan, for being here. And
You're
all the
very
best to
welcome,
you.
Lucy.
And again, the Congress is going on, the International Seaweed Congress, November 19 to 21. And there is information on siap-org.com for more information. And of course, very interesting topics to be discussed by Dr. Kraan and others at the Congress. Thank you once again, Dr. Stefan Kraan, Scientific Director of Ocean Harvest Technology.